So today I want to talk about alternative text or alt text, which is very important for screen reader users. It allows screen readers to read out a description of the image. This can be very useful for people who cannot see that image because they're getting a full descriptor of what that image is in roughly 100 to 125 characters. Alt text really shouldn't go longer than that. And you're focusing in on the detail of what that image is. So for example, if I have an image of a puppy, I could be focusing on the dog breed, how little it is, maybe mentioning its cuteness factor. But I could also be talking about that same image, maybe if the dog is on the grass or something like that, focusing in on the grass being great if it's a grass advertisement for dogs and that's safe for dogs, right? So it depends on what the context is, or the lighting, or those types of things if it's more geared toward photography. So you really have to be clear with your alt text on what you're trying to convey in those 100 to 125 characters. Now, something else to keep in mind, and this is one reason you should consider alt text even if your concern is not for accessibility reasons, is that it helps with the actual search engines because they know what the image is, and then you're more likely to get good search results as well. So your image will be more likely to come up. And with that, it's important to realize that the reason that the alt text needs to be shorter, though, is because the screen reader is going to read out the full alt text. So there's no stop or rewind or pausing midway. It just pretty much reads until the screen reader user jumps to the next item. So it's important to have brevity with your descriptors. So that's why 100 to 125 characters is what is recommended. And in addition to that, if you did have a very long description for maybe like a painting or something like that, you could do something like see alt text below or whatnot, and then they would be able to go down and see that paragraph where you're going into the painting and describing everything as well. And that can be important too, because if you have users just coming to the website, they're not going to see that alt text. So it's important that if you have a full description for like a painting or a special photograph, that you do write that out so that way everybody can get that information. So what I'm going to do here is demo how you can create alt text in Microsoft Word and in Google Docs, and then we'll use the screen reader, and I'm going to show you some examples of the screen reader interacting with alt text. One other thing to keep in mind is that if you have a decorative image, like some type of image that's purely decorative, doesn't convey anything, you could mark that as decorative and just kind of hide it because it's not beneficial then for the screen reader user. So you can use that as well. But generally, if you're including images that are important, you want to make sure that they have alt text. So now we are in Microsoft Word. I have added this picture of a cute husky puppy. And what I'm going to do is add alt text for this picture. Now the way you can add alt text is you can click on the picture, and you can do control click or right click if you're on a PC. And when you click on it, you'll choose the option Edit Alt Text. And in that option, you can type in the alt text. Now this is from the picture itself, but what I could do, and I think this was actually auto-generated by Google, but I'm just going to type in cute husky puppy standing on grass. And that to me conveys pretty clearly what this picture is. Now, if you were going to focus on other aspects of the picture, if I was more focused, let's say, on the grass, or there was something in particular I wanted to show on the background, I think there's like a wall, I could mention those things if they were more relevant, or if this was a color exercise and I see that the puppy has really unique eyes, maybe, I want to mention that more if this was done in Photoshop and it's some type of exercise about the color of the dog's eyes or something. But for right now, this kind of conveys, what I'm looking to describe, so I can consider that to be complete. I will demo how a screen reader can read the alt text, But first what I'm going to do is just save this as, cute puppy, and we'll just save it as a PDF, and that way I can have the screen reader using VoiceOver read it out in a second. But first I'm going to show you Google Docs. In Google Docs, you can see we're over there now with the same image. I can go to Control click or right click and choose Alt Text. There's a title and descriptor. It doesn't really matter which one. I believe that most screen readers will just read it all out. But I'm just going to put, cute puppy standing on grass. Actually, I want to put husky because that is important. Standing on grass. If I had more of a short title and a longer description, that's kind of how this is set up there. But for most of the time, you can just type in the title or description and it will kind of populate for the screen reader, and we'll see that in a second. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to demo on a screen reader.
No visible title to interact. Out of page 1. In page 1. 2 items. Cute husky update standing on grass image.
And now you can see it's reading out the image. Another thing, if you use in VoiceOver on a Mac, you could do Control-Alt-U, and you can choose these different options. And if I go to image, you'll see there's the description. I hope that you found this helpful. Please consider clicking the link in the description, and you can find information about my Discord and post questions for future videos, as well as interact with me and share your experiences. I am also including a survey, which I'd really appreciate if you have the time to complete. Thank you again for watching.